Listen to the new episode of Real Talk on Spotify.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk, a podcast where young adults talk about mental health and self-improvement, striving to be better every day. Well, at least trying their best to do so. Well, I know that I've been trying my best to do so because lately I haven't been feeling myself lately. It's been kind of a rough stage in my life where everything is going up and down, and I feel like I can't really truly be myself. It's like I have a barricade in front of me. There's a lot of things that I haven't been really able to do, and it's really intimate for me to share it with you guys. And I think it's important for me to share it with you guys because I don't want to make this podcast seem like I am the know-it-all and I'm sharing what I learned and I'm the master of knowledge. The podcast is something for everybody to learn from me to learn something and for you to learn something. It's not about someone basically teaching you or teaching anybody anything. It's about us learning together. And this is what this podcast episode is going to be about. And these are the topics that I want to cover in today's podcast. The first topic I want to talk about is slacking off habits and returning to the old ones. This topic is so important because that's something that I have been dealing with recently. I have been returning to my old habits. I have my vapes literally on my table and I hate seeing it, and at the same time I can't resist it, and we're going to talk about it in further detail. The second topic is going to be being hard on ourselves, to talk about where did this mentality originate, like how come are we programmed to be hard on ourselves. I'm not saying everybody is like that. I'm saying some people go on with their lives and experience lots of different situations where you become extremely hard on yourself and you're like, why am I, being hard on myself? But at the same time, they're saying I want to be better and better. And this is the exact topic that we are going to be covering in this episode. And the third topic is the mentality or the mindset of saying everything is bad. I fail. Everything is programmed to be against me. This is what I deserve. This is what life is, basically. This is what I am getting now. And we're going to be talking in depth about that as well. But before we do that, we're going to be starting with not an affirmation round, a meditation. Because I haven't done these in a while. I usually do this in my free time or every morning when I wake up. But I've been slacking off a lot on that. And I want to do it with you guys. I want to be having the feeling that I am doing this with somebody, because meditation, especially when you're doing it with other people, is extremely powerful. The aura that it's behind it is so powerful, and I would love to share that with you guys. So without further ado, let's get started with the meditation. Wherever you are right now, if you're sitting, laying down, walking around, or even if you're listening to this podcast while you're asleep, I would like to invite you to a calm session where we meditate while we repeat the affirmations I will be reading to you today. Get into a comfortable position. Put your hands on your laps and focus on nothing else other than your breath. I will be counting down from 10 all the way to 0. And with each number I count down, we will be going into a deeper state of relaxation and clear our mind fully. We are aware of where we are right now. Nine. Our breathing pattern is the only source we rely on to calm us down. 8. This time, deeper breaths. 9. Breathing is a gift we all have and appreciate. 7. Deeper. 8. We are entering the calm state. 6. Deeper. 5. The now is important. The now is what matters. 5. This time, stronger. 6. With each breath you take, you can feel your body relaxing more and more. 4. Repeat the affirmations. I am in the process of discovering my true potential. 3. Stronger. 'I am in the process of letting go of my bad habits. 2. Even stronger. 'I am in the process of forgiving myself for my mistakes. 1. As strong as you can. 'I am in the process of building a new character I look up to. 'Perfect. Without further ado, let's start with the first topic. Oh my god. Well, that felt so good. Honestly, I haven't meditated in a while. And honestly, it's something that really bothers me as well. Because, and now we're going to be talking about slacking off habits. This is something that was always bothering me, honestly, because I really don't like slacking off of things that do me good. Honestly, it's the same thing with vaping, the same thing with not meditating, the same thing with not journaling. And I have talked about how important it is to journal in my previous episode. You can go check it out. It's episode 2. And I was basically covering the topic of how journaling is always the way that we discover ourselves, how it's the way we manage our thoughts and even dive deeper into what we're experiencing and feeling and seeing and thinking, putting it all in one book that has no judgments, that you are the own author of it. You are allowed to write anything you want in it. No one reads it, only you. Imagine it's like a book that you have written and you're the only one who's reading it, and you know what you've written in the book, and you know how exciting it is to kind of like read your journey through. It's like an adventure. And slacking off this habit, especially journaling or meditating, is extremely frustrating at the same time. And that's what this does to us. When we see ourselves slacking off good habits and returning to bad ones, it makes us so mad at nobody other than ourselves. And this is where we become the anti-hero, like the anti-me. It's like you're fighting yourself with it. It's like you're starting to target yourself because you really hate the fact that you're letting go of these habits, and you start asking yourself, how come? What happened? What made this happen? Like, how come am I returning to habits that I said and I took accountability to not return to them? I replaced them with habits that not only fulfill me, but they even energize me. They energize my aura. They energize my like me as a person, and it radiated to everybody. And now, since I'm starting to slack off and I've returned to bad habits, or I am in the process of returning to them, I see that a lot of people have not or stopped taking me seriously. And that's probably one of the first things that you're ever going to experience when you're going to be slacking off habits or going to be returning to bad ones. People are going to see that you're not committed. They're going to see that you're not committed to what you're saying. And that will really hit you and struck you, because people will start talking about it and confront you with it. They'll say, how come are you not doing this? How come are you not doing that? And then it leads you to reach the stage of fuck everybody. Fuck them. I don't care what other people say. I care about what I say. I care about what I think, what I feel. And you start radiating that negative energy and that negative vibrational bubble into other people, because you're like, who are you to tell me what to do? If I did this, or if I return to this habit, what are you going to do? Why are you even like talking about it? It's none of your business. And this is where we become defensive about the bad habits that we're making, because the whole progress that we were going through, the progress of being better and discovering new habits and discovering ourselves and having this graph of failures and accomplishments until we hit the dip, which is the point where we fail, or we are constantly failing, or something is not going the way we want. Maybe because we're trying to gain control. Maybe we're trying to control every single situation is around us, or we're trying to have a visual where everything happens immediately after just starting to adjust our lives and just starting to adapt a certain habit or a certain action, and it's not running according to our expectations. We hit the dip, because the dip shows us that there is something about what you're doing that is not working. There's a system that you're relying on that has become or is not functioning anymore. And this defensive mechanism towards everybody is something that we've already learned, because we're going through this self-improvement process where we're like, you know what, I respect myself so much, and I'm not going to let you, a person who has nothing to do with my life and nothing to tell me or lash off your judgment onto me about what I'm doing with my own self and with my own habits. Are you serious? And that's how we react, because we've learned one new thing: self-respect. That's not self-respect. That's self-defense. Because self-respect is what you actually do to yourself that is respectful. Smoking is not respectful. You're damaging your body. I am smoking and I'm damaging my body. It's not healthy. It's not good. It's not going to bring me forward. I'm not going to learn anything from it. I'm not going to grow from it, flourish from it. It's nothing that even going to bring me to the point, or it's not going to bring me closer to the character that I have created, to that higher me. Because instead of going forward and taking the needed steps into getting to the character that I want to be, I'm actually taking steps back, because it's too scary. Because I don't trust the process. Because I don't see it happening immediately. And that's not how life works. It's not how you study for a test. There is no way that you're going to study for a test or like for a subject that you have never ever uncovered at all. Never. And you're going to study a day before and you're going to get an A+. There's no way in hell. Because if you are, of course, now, depending on that context, maybe you know the topic, maybe you're good at the subject, whatever. But what we're talking about is like just the metaphor on its own, which is that it's impossible to get results in a day. And I think this is something that I've been struggling with because I have these expectations and they're so unrealistic. And that's why I slacked off. I'm relying on stress relievers instead of meditating, which now actually really, really helped me. And I don't even want to pick up my vape anymore because that's what I need. I feel like my cortisol level is so high that in order for me to calm down, I rely on nicotine. Or my stress levels and stress hormones are too high because I think a lot or because I have a lot of fears that are just racing through my mind and develops into overthinking. And that's why I rely on it, because it gives me it serves me, and it doesn't give me anything. It serves me with what I need, and it serves me with relaxation. And that's why it's so important to learn one thing, is that progress takes time. We need to develop that sense of patience, that sense of trust. And not only in the process, but in ourselves. I mean, even doing meditation once, if you've followed this meditation, you feel immediately that something is happening. Not drastically, not immediately, but within time, after doing that meditation, you started to feel like you've actually calmed down. And that's what every habit will bring to us, is that relaxation. It's that specific feeling of having everything structured. Habits offer us structure. Recently, I have been reading the Atomic Habits, and this book is amazing, honestly. Like, me discovering this book made me so happy because I discovered so many things that are so beneficial in any life position that you're in, because it teaches you a really important message. And I remember reading this one specific quote, and it says that behind every system of actions is a system of beliefs. I really like that quote because it really shows you that if you are operating on a specific system where you're trying to get rid of your nicotine addiction, for example, and your belief, though, what you say to yourself constantly and what you're thinking and what you're constantly having, like saying into your own self is, well, maybe I'm just like a party smoker, or just maybe I'm a social smoker, or I smoke socially, or I smoke when I drink, or whatever the case may be. You're attaching yourself to the identity of being one. You're not detaching yourself from it. I have the feeling that I'm talking to myself right now at this point, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I have been using that as an excuse to say, well, yeah, I'm just like a socially smoker, you know? And my friends, the people that I'm close with, always heard that. And they're like, and I'm pretty sure at this point, it gave them the impression that I'm not serious about my self-improvement. And honestly, that, of course, that inspires me and affects me to rethink the decisions that I make. But at the end of the day, I know that it is ungenuine if I'm not taking it seriously and I'm not taking the required steps to change my identity in order to change my outcome. And that's something that he also covers in his book, The Atomic Habits. He says that there's an outcome-based habit system and an identity-based habit system. And the outcome-based is what we rely on having at the end of our habits, and what we do when we identify with these habits, when we say to ourselves, you know what? I'm an author. I don't like writing. Like it's not about like liking to write books. It's more about becoming the author. And the author specializes in writing books. The author, of course, he likes writing books. That's what an author does. And I think that's the point in Atomic Habits, is that you have to identify yourself with the set habit, because then it will be much easier to perform it. So the next topic that we're going to be talking about is when everything is happening, when we're slacking off and when we're being hard on ourselves, and we get to a point where we start really, really saying stuff that I wouldn't even say to other people, honestly, at this point, because it's so mean. It's so mean. It's not really like real, because we start being like, honestly, if I'm like doing these small steps to reach my goal, why can't I just do like why can't I just reach it? Like, why do I have to go through this whole process? It's so long. It takes time. Coming back to the topic of patience, that is also relevant. We start operating in a mentality that really slacks. It's really, really negative, and it does not serve us with any improvement or any way to work on ourselves when we think or have this mentality. But where did this mentality originate? Maybe if I personally think about my own childhood, I see lots of aspects where this could be a reason for my inner voice to state things like that. For an example, my parents were always like ungenuine with my grades. So if I came home with a grade that I thought was okay, they would always ask, and they would try to sound serious the more that I got older, with saying, well, just for an example, okay, I said I have a B+, and they would reply with, why isn't it a B? Why isn't it a A-? You have to get better. And it always bothered me so much, because I'm like, okay, this is good enough. And I knew that this was good enough. I don't have to be an A+ person. I gave my best. I did my best. I gave whatever I can do. And I literally invested so much time in studying to get that. And this is what is also have been taught to me. I have to impress others. I learn, study, and do all of these things to share my accomplishment with other people, who will then give me the feeling of being successful or having achieved that one thing. Like that, my sense of being proud was dependent on other people's reactions. If they were proud of me, then I'm proud of myself. If they are not, then I'm a really, really unworthy person, which is not fucking true. And I will not settle on this. It just doesn't go through my head. I will not settle on a mindset like this. And you shouldn't too. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to be stuck with you, and you're going to be the one who's going to work on yourself. No one will do it for you. No one will teach you how to do it. You will have to do it on your own. Other people are doing that. Maybe I am trying to show you that I'm also just like you, maybe. Maybe we're going through the same thing. Maybe what I'm saying is relatable to you, but you are the one who is in charge. And I am also the one who is in charge to changing my habits. Like I'm just playing to you right now. I'm not perfect. I'm also slacking off and returning to old habits. And that's something that I have to work on by myself. I have chosen to slack off because something clearly triggered me, and something clearly made me go down, take it down a notch, just go to the secure level, because that's what makes me comfortable, my comfort zone. Discovering where this mentality originated from makes it so much easier for us to relate and know where this belief system came from. Because when we change that belief system, returning to my source of Atomic Habits, it's where we develop identity. What we believe in is what we are, and what we are is what we do. The last topic for today's episode is going to be this mindset of everything is bad, everyone is bad, I am bad, this is happening to me, why is this happening to me, I guess this is what I deserve. Going to the victimized mindset. I swear I have gone through this a week ago. I was sick in my bed. I didn't want to do anything. I felt like I'm a miserable person, and it really, really affected me so much that at one point I was like, okay, why am I thinking like this? What triggered it? And the only thing that triggered it is my own head. My head that overthinks, that has no storage to let anything out. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't doing anything to contribute to a better mindset or a better life. I was just like, I was absorbing everything bad. My head was full. I was just full of so many bad thoughts, so many bad affirmations that have not been serving me well at all. And I didn't know what to do because I was like, okay, I'm doing the self-improvement. I'm reading stuff. I'm sharing it. I'm trying to be my best and yada yada. But this is not the point. And I didn't know that. And that's why we fall into this victimized mindset, is because we see so much that's happening that is not in our favor. And you always have tons of standpoints to look at a situation. It's either you look at it from a bad perspective where everything is happening like it's made to happen to hurt you, instead of oh my god, I can't speak anymore. Instead of it being happened or being, oh god, instead of it happening to teach you something. There you go, God. I'm not gonna edit this podcast, by the way, because I just want you to hear how I'm improvising, and I'm doing this without a script because that's how I think and that's how I will do my episodes. And this is also something. See, this is something that I've been also thinking about and being scared about, is me stuttering or not being able to say my words correctly in podcast episodes. That it is the way it is. It's the beginning of every episode. It's the beginning of every podcast that you do. It's normal. That's what happens. That's how I'm training myself, because I really don't like writing scripts a lot. And I'm trying to fall in love with that, and because I want to be a script writer. That's the identity that I want to have. I want to occupy this position of being a script writer, because then it makes me motivated to write other scripts. And that's how progress happens. It's either we look at stuff badly, it's against us, or we look at stuff goodly. No, we look at stuff in a good standpoint where we know that the stuff that is happening to us is meant to teach us something, and it's fine. Because I read a quote today that was so good. It's better to flourish after making a mistake than being ignorant after having a success. And I love this quote because it's so true. Some people get so spoiled with their successes and they forget to be grateful. They forget gratitude, the main source of feeling happy. And then when they get a lot of successes, they think to themselves, why am I so unhappy? Are you grateful for what you have? Are you thanking God, the universe, anything you believe in? Do you have a source of faith? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can gladly support me on Buy Me a Coffee. You can buy me a coffee if you want to. And if these episodes are just really, really fun to you, if you ever want to collab, make sure to DM me on Instagram at Trave Stories. And I'll make sure that we could just sit down, talk about mental health, talk about your journey and what you learned from your own journey. So yeah, I hope you have a good evening, and I'll see you in the next episode.